Okay, next question. Hey Merja, I'm an INFP and Enneagram type 9 and really struggle with boundaries. I feel guilty for taking up too much of a conversation and let other people give their opinion without voicing my own. How can I take up more space in a conversation without feeling guilty or ashamed, like I'm doing something wrong? This is a great question. Thank you so much for this question. I don't actually know who have asked these questions, but I am good to answer. So being an INFP, which means that you are predominantly a perceiver in the outside world as opposed to a decision maker in the outside world. You know, the letter P at the end of your type shows that you are predominantly a perceiver in the outside world, as well as being an Enneagram type 9, which of course is the peacemaker, as some of you know. This is a very clear and challenging combination when it comes to boundary setting. Okay, so I hear you, I'm feeling you. I get it. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to say as preface before I actually answer your question. And preface number one is that you being a perceiver in the outside world and being an Enneagram type 9 gives you superpowers that other people don't have. So yes, you might be bad at setting boundaries, but you might be fantastic at something entirely different. For example, finding the solution that really works for the problem. So that's preface number one. You know, yes, you have challenges, but you also have amazing things that you can bring into the world. The second preface is that if we don't wanna get really good at something we're really bad at. We want to be excellent at what we're already really good at. I'm not saying don't learn to set boundaries. I'm just saying let's set the boundaries in a way that's actually authentic to you as a peacemaker, as almost like a mediator in life. And the way that I've noticed the most amazing nines and the most amazing perceivers do this in real life is instead of having confrontations with people, they learn to ask questions. So, you know, you were saying, I really struggle with boundaries. I feel guilty for taking up too much of the conversation and let people give their opinion without voicing my own. What if your own opinion was voiced in a question? So it's like an indirect kind of refocusing of the energy. So the energy is coming at you, somebody's opinion is coming at you, you take that and you go, yes, and how about this one? And then you redirect the energy either back to the other person or somewhere else. Because the thing is that you don't have to, you know, people often think that it's not okay to disagree with people. It's totally okay to disagree with people, but how you disagree with people is a skill, and it's a form of art as well, and you can learn it. So when you're in that space and you learn to redirect the energy that's coming at you, their opinion, you might say things like, that is a very interesting point of view, because I haven't thought of it from that perspective, because what I've thought about has been this. How does this one sound for you? So now you're not saying, well, I don't agree with that, you're full of it. Because there's no point to that. You're just looking for trouble if you're, you know, communicating that way. So, you know, the opinion piece where you go like, hey, that's interesting. I've never thought of it that way. I always thought of it like this. What do you think about that? Like, what do you think? So you make it into a conversation as opposed to who's right and who's wrong. And that way it kind of bypasses the whole I'm feeling guilty for asserting my own opinion, because you don't feel comfortable people asserting their opinions. And so should you learn to assert your own opinion, maybe it's not the right thing for you. Maybe the right thing for you is to ask questions and redirect the energy. So you were saying also that you feel like you're taking too much space in the conversation and feeling guilty and ashamed. That, my friend, can also be completely resolved by learning to have a conversation about what's the conversation that's being had, and not thinking that you have to have a confrontation every time. Does that help? Is that helpful for the 9s in this group, or for the INFPs in this group? Is that helpful for you? Please let me know.